Well, hello there. With me being quite new to this vlogging and day in the life of and everything else, at first I thought let's just leave it at the footage we've already got and let's call it a line there. But then in the post came this little surprise just here. Now I thought it might be actually quite worthwhile unboxing it directly on here, because then I can talk about why and how I think it's going to be a really good addition to the way that I do work. So first of all, a bit of backstory, and this will come into context of what this is in a moment and how this works. But let's just go through this little device here. Now hopefully you can see that, hopefully you can see what this is, but this is one of the original iPads. And I'm going to be completely honest, when I first saw the iPad, back in the day when it was first announced, I was very skeptical as actually what was this device for, because when you think about it at the time, it was just a bigger iPod. That's what it was kind of shown as. And for me, I felt like, yeah, it's a good little device maybe to have on your coffee table, or just something to grab and to be able to sit when you're on a sofa or something. But I didn't see it from a productivity point of view. How long was I? From there, I upgraded myself to one of these bad boys. I can't remember which one at the time, but basically over time as well, I've got more and more of these particular models. It would have been this one first, and it had a cellular model, you can see there, so that means it had actual internet option in there. You can put yourself a SIM card in there, and it's got internet always on the go. Really, really useful. And then I moved over to this version here with a Touch ID and everything that goes through. And actually, both of these versions now are both versions of iPads that get used throughout the business for when I'm trying to show things up. So if I've got a point of sale solution I want to show to a customer or anything like that, these two are the go and get grabbers, and I can have them all set up on stands and get them all set up. It's a great little way. And I used the kind of traditional iPad, if you like, for a while. Really, really liked it. It was great for doing things, especially at the time for studying and items like that. It became a really useful device. But when it really changed for me was the introduction of this bad boy. So this is the iPad Pro, and you know it's a Pro because look how big it is. You know, you could probably put two of the original iPads over them and it will come to the same size. So it's double the size, and also from our point of view as well, it's got this little element there, which is the magic connector. Now, it was this magic connector that really got me excited about the potential of an iPad. I haven't got it with me at the moment, but we do have the whole idea of putting it in, having the keyboard associated with it as well, so it was be able to run with a keyboard. And it really started making me think about what this can do, and this became part of my arsenal when it came to going to clients. Whenever I went to a client meeting, take this, I'd have the pencil, and this would always be with me at every point. And this became a great tool with me because this was the option where I could write my notes and I could show clients some accounts. If I was doing accounts and I was at their premises, for example, I'd have it already on here, or I'd use my cellular connection to quickly get it down from the cloud, and then I'd hand this over to them while I'm talking on my laptop about what's going on. And it gave me that flexibility. It was a great device, and an iPad itself is wonderful at that second screen experience. And it's getting even more better with that with the latest software. So with the latest software on iOS and now iPadOS and also on your computer, you can actually run this as a second screen. And this really does open up ways in which the iPad can be really useful. Fast forward to the iPad Pro. Now, this isn't the first iPad Pro redesign I got. This was the second upgrade that I went for. But again, Magic Keyboard, really useful. This new design, which I absolutely love. And this one was actually the second generation iPad Pro with the updated cameras in here. And this really started to become the workhorse that I needed, because as good as this design was and everything else, it was still just a bigger iPad. It wasn't really designed for everything that came through, but this, absolutely brilliant. This is the idea where if I'm on the train, for example, I need that second screen. If I'm on the train and I just need to quickly get some bit of work done, again, it's got cellular connection, so I've always got this connected to the internet. And with this came also iPadOS, where you started to really see the benefits that came in. Then what came along? Well, Apple somehow managed to break even my expectations, and they included what was called the M1 chip in here. See any of my other vlogs and talk about any of the other tech that I talk about, the best piece of equipment I've had in the past couple of years was the MacBook Air with the M1 chip. The M1 chip, if ever you don't know what the M1 chip is, it's basically Apple's attempt at creating their own piece of processor. And the actual idea of it compared to your traditional Intel AMD is the fact that from a heat sensitive point of view and from a power efficiency and from a battery efficiency, you get all three. You see, traditionally, when you're looking at thinking about going towards buying yourself a laptop or some sort of portable device, you have three areas that you think about. There's performance, there's battery life and heat and overall comfortability, and then finally price. And normally what you'll find is if you want something that's really, really powerful, very rarely do you get a great battery with it, or at least not if you want a slim design. And if you do want the slim design, then the price is absolutely astronomical. So normally you're having to make a decision. Do you want power or do you want battery life? M1 though gives you both, because from my M1 MacBook Air, I'm able to outperform my MacBook Pro, which is supposed to be the pro level device. And I'm able to outperform it in a lot of circumstances. Now there's still certain circumstances where I would need the MacBook Pro to complete that task. So certain video rendering and everything else. But for your day to day and for most kind of tasks that I throw at that MacBook Air, it works. And it doesn't just work with that power, but it never has a fan. So the heat is not an issue whatsoever. And the battery life is absolutely insane. So when they turn around and says, well, why don't we stick the same chip, that same magicness in there, into here? Well, I couldn't say no. And this has been absolutely brilliant. I'll be honest, I don't utilize it for its full potential, but I wasn't just having this lying around. This has gone elsewhere. This is now being used elsewhere in the business, so I'm more than happy with that. And the other devices there, they all have a use. And now they're not my personal devices anymore. They've all been kind of passed around and they've got other people using them, but they all get used. Now what I use though is I use this M1 iPad, and it's absolutely amazing. Again, if I need that second screen experience, if I need to be able to run something powerful, I can edit videos, I can do pretty much most of what I need to do on this particular device. I went for the cellular connection, so it's always connected. It's got great cameras on, which actually from an iPad, you use more than you think, because you're using it to take photos, to scan in items and documents, and it becomes a really powerful. So the fact we've got some great elements on there is wonderful. And it's actually got LiDAR as well, which unfortunately at the moment hasn't really taken off as much as it should do. But for AR capability, I find that's going to be really useful. And I think there's a big future for that going forward. All in all though, I love this device and I can't complain about it at all. The only thing is, it is very, very big. This isn't the sort of thing you could just take away with you. It is actually, from a weight point of view, pretty much the same weight as the iPad Air. So if I was going to take one or the other, taking both is definitely kind of my priority. But if I only could take one, most of the time I'd probably opt for the iPad Air, being that everything's there. But that all changes today, because that iPad just there pretty much sits at my desk at all times. This is the greatest device I can think of as while I'm working, to have a device here that I can quickly go to. If I need to book a calendar, if I need to check my calendar, if I need to quickly go into another meeting while I'm maybe in this meeting. It's that second device that really, really works. And when it comes to training, it's absolutely imperative. The idea that I have all my training notes on here, I can swipe through them, I can have multiple notes, I can do the split screen. This device is absolutely brilliant. And if I was in a position where I was doing face-to-face meetings, it would be this one I take with me, because again, I have the ability then of being able to pass that to them and be able to make sure that they can see exactly what I want them to see. So it's a great little device, absolutely highly recommend it. And the iPad Air and the iPad Pro has completely changed my game. Now that it has a keyboard with it, a trackpad, this device sits here, and you'll see this all the time. This, if I'm not typing away on my keyboard, I'm quickly going over to here, getting stuff done. Absolutely love it. And again, there's an update coming in software that means from a mouse and keyboard point of view, I'll even just be able to move my mouse over to here. It'll automatically detect the iPad, and I can move on to there as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an absolute game changer. So if I found the perfect iPad for me just here, and obviously you've seen from my collection that I've actually gone through and experienced most iPads out there, so I should be pretty au fait of what's what, then what could be in this package? Well, today is iPhone release day. Now, iPhone release day, normally a really exciting time for me. I get to see the new iPhone, but I opted this year not to upgrade my iPhone for the first time, I want to say in 10 years almost. And the reason for that is that this year the upgrade, as good as it was, just nothing that I actually required. There was nothing there that I could do with. So instead I thought about trying out a different device. You see, every year I would save, and I still do, and I still to this day will do, I will save money so that I have the money available to go and get that iPhone on day release. Because most years I will be the first person in queue, grabbing that iPhone, as sad as it sounds, and I would queue up, and I've got videos of me queuing. Being in queues, and I absolutely love the whole iPhone experience, and I love being able to grab that first, grab each and every update. But this year just didn't do it for me. I didn't feel a compelling reason to upgrade. So I thought to myself, well, why not try something a little bit different, and why not try something that you could use going forward? And that's where this comes in. You see, not only did they say they were going to release a brand new iPhone today, but also they've gone and released the new iPad mini. So here's just a case for it. We don't need to look at that one. That's just standard. I'll put that to one side. But what is important? Now, I know you might be saying, well, Aaron, you've already got the wonderful iPad Pro as your main device. And if I needed to, I could use one of the business iPads. If I needed any other kind of second device or anything like that. So what's this going to do for you? Well, this to me is going to be my perfect note-taking device, and this device here is going to be my replacement of my second phone. So as a business owner, I have an iPhone for personal use, and I've always had a secondary phone. Now, it's either been one of those iPhones I've had in the past, or it's been an Android phone if I'm trying to try out different bits of QuickBooks or anything like that. So I've always had a secondary phone. At this point in time, I've got this Google Pixel. I'm absolutely fine with it. But when you're not in the Apple ecosystem, it does give you issues. So if I get a message on here, for example, I'm not always up to date with it. So I'm going to trial and see, can this brand new iPad mini actually be a replacement to the phone? Now, the one thing I won't be able to do is receive phone calls on this. I can do FaceTime, Teams messaging and everything else. And I'm going to have a think about how I'm going to get my iMessages through here as well, which relate to this particular number. But apart from that, I don't need the second mobile phone to be necessarily a phone. I just need it to be able to connect to all my apps or the internet. And what I do need is that secondary number to be relayed to me in one way or another. Now, I actually set this number to go and forward anyway. So although the second number goes here, this phone will never ring. But what I do get every now and again is text messages. So I just need to figure out how that text messaging is going to work going forward. But by the by, that's something I'm going to figure out, and part and parcel of the kind of test of this is, can you use this as basically a replacement for your mobile phone? Because look at the form factor. The form factor is so much more smaller than this. It's absolutely crazy. If you look at the old iPad in the corner there compared to this one, this is absolutely tiny in comparison. And what this gives us is this wonderful form factor. And what really brings me to this one is the inclusion now, is the inclusion of the pencil as well. So when I say this could be the perfect note device, I absolutely mean it, because the idea here is, from a processor point of view, it's not quite on par with the M1, but it is the same processor in the new iPhone, so it's no slouch whatsoever, and far more power than most people ever need or ever use. The other things about this as well is the fact that, again, it's cellular connection, so I'm going to have connection to the internet at all times, and the fact is that the note-taking experience is so good. So, and with this new addition, this becomes the best notepad ever, because it's one-handed. I can write my notes as I'm going along. If I'm on a website or anything like that, or if I've got an email up, I actually can just swipe from the right there to bring up what's called Quick Note, and that's going to give me the ability to write notes on what it's going to be. So if I need a follow-up or anything like that, I've got that all there. Overall, I'm pretty excited, because I feel like this form factor will just give the ultimate portable version of what that is. And although that is portable, yes, completely, it's still not brilliant if you want to be just quickly going. If you just need to jump out for 5 minutes, you just need to go off to get something, but you need to take something with you to get work done, then I'm going to trial and see if this is going to be good enough. So I didn't upgrade my phone for the first time in a long time. I've gone for the iPad mini form factor with the ability that I can now take notes. And even if I'm in meetings now, it will probably be this that I'll grab for, quickly take a note on to move forward on, then getting out the iPad and removing it from its place where it's so useful to have there. Sometimes it's almost a shame if I need to take notes because I've got to deattach it, put it down here. So I'm always going to have access to both, but the idea is for me that this could be my second device, my second phone going forward. So this is something I find really cool. When it comes to actually setting up any iOS devices now, they really thought about the experience. So as I switch this on, hopefully it's got some power. It has. Also comes with a USB-C adapter, which is amazing. Normal books, and as always, your thing. So here's the setup experience. I've got the hello. I'm going to go English. And if you can see over there, well, I'm just trying to find United Kingdom. It says Aaron Patrick, and it's got the save, set up a new iPad, so press continue. It's now connecting. Now what it wants me to do is confirm, so I'm going to use the camera on the back of the iPad here to confirm that it's the right one. Put in a password. And as simple as that. That's now setting up. And what it's doing is it's transferring information from one iPad to the other. So I'm going to let that do its little jolly and go on with what it needs to do. And we'll be back when it's completed. Can't wait. So we've got the transfer from iPad option. I find this so useful when setting up a new device. I literally keep them two together. It's going to copy all the information over, and it makes my life so much easier. Absolutely love it. All right, with that then, I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you this device. I'm going to give you some updates during the vlogs of how this works and why I think this device is going to be a bit of a game changer. But with that, I think that's it. That's the end of the vlog. So yeah, as always, like, subscribe, all that jazz. It's been a pleasure to do this video for you, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. I told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it's dark, I told him I would do it all for you, and I know you do it for me too. I can be a fighter if you want, I can be a fighter. I can be a fighter if you want. I can be a fighter if you want. All the way that I feel, yeah, I know that it's real, cause I can get him out of my head. I don't care what we do, everything's feeling new. Even if we stay in bed, my heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. You know I want him, nah, 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 nah. My heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. Hello and thank you for watching that video. What you may not know is this channel that you've watched this video from is part of a wider group. That wider group is called Apple Core Production, and the 3 channels that we have involved are as follows: Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chat, Boffix Tax Tip. Finally, we have Apple Core Live and Geeky. All the links and everything are down below in the description, but it really means a lot to us if you can go and give a like to the other channels as well.